welcome back to my Astro Imaging Journey channel. Tonight I'm going to attempt to capture some frames of the 46P Comet. Wirtanen is the name, I believe. We got some clear skies tonight. Let's look at that data. Skies are clear all night. Scene's not the greatest, but we're not really trying to capture 20-minute subs here. We're only going probably for 30 to 60 seconds, somewhere in there. I'll be doing some test shots to see if the Comet's got any trailing. And the moon's up, but shouldn't be a factor with that with those exposure times. So with that, let's go over here. So here we have Stellarium, and you know from the previous video I've got a limited view of the sky. Now the first thing we wanted to look at, where is 46P going to be in the sky? Well, 46P is not installed. It's not an object in Stellarium by default. So what we have to do is go over here to Configuration Window, Plugins, Solar System Editor, Configure, and go up here to the Solar System tab, and then import from the MPC format. Okay. Now go over here to Online Search, and as you can, read the instructions. Let's go to C/Wirtanen. Search for it, and there it is. So we would just checkbox it and add the object, and with that we can close out all of these things. Now let's go search for it. Already typed it in, and it's below my viewable horizon. So let's fast forward and see what time it's going to come up. And there she is, right around 8:45, 8:50-ish. So with my Edge HD, with the T6i, I should get a good close-in view of it, if I can find it. So if we zoom out, I'm probably going to have to go with Alcabane. Pallades is up here. Crystal Ball Nebula. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing some searching, try to find that thing. But how long is it going to be viewable for? Let's speed that up, and there we go. Went below the horizon. We're looking at least 1 o'clock. I'm hoping not to stay up that late, but we will see. And we're going to have to do a meridian flip in there somewhere, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. I'll explain why here in a second. That's with the T6i, the modified T6i, and the Edge HD 11-inch that I've been using for all of my other videos. Now, as we can see here on the screen here, I have an image of the piggyback mount I have, and subsequently the 150 to 600 millimeter Sigma lens attached to a T7i that's unmodified. And if I stretch that out to 600 millimeters, that's what my view should be, at least at 1:30 in the morning. So bigger chunk of the sky. I might back that off a little bit. There's a 250. I could go to 150. Not sure what I want to do yet. I'll figure that out once I actually get on target. And how am I going to capture this data? Well, the problem is, as you can see here with the Edge HD, there's not a lot. Let me go back to 7 o'clock. There's not a lot around there. I got to zoom out. I believe that's IC 359. Got the star here, Crystal Ball Nebula. Pleiades is back here. There's nothing I can really try to search for in this view right now that I can use Sequence Generator Pro to plate solve and let it do its thing. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to manually find this thing, use PhD. Once I get it in there, in the frame, and start guiding on one of the stars, use one instance of Backyard EOS for the T6i, capturing those close-in shots, and then another one with another instance of Backyard EOS for the T7i, and we'll see what we can capture. Should be able to see which way it's moving in the frame, so hopefully I can set it up so that it tracks across the frame in both of them, and if I'm lucky, we'll be good to go. So I've got to go set everything up. I still have some light, and I can get those pictures I promised would be on the screen. And yeah, see you in a few. Thank you. Okay, so I did try to use the Mosaic tool and Sequence Generator Pro to get into the general area of the sky, and it wasn't working for me. So now, did take a couple test frames. I mean, I did get into the area. This is the T7i. I set the Sigma lens to 300 millimeters approximately, because I just didn't want to go in to 600 millimeters for those wider shots. So now I remembered that you can control the mount through Stellarium. So what we want to do is open up the configuration window, go into the plugins, and then go into remote control and click on configure. Oh, excuse me, telescope control. And click on configure and start. Obviously it's not working for me because the ASCOM drivers are being used by SGP. So let me get that cleared up and then I will be back. Okay, so if anything goes awry in SGP and you end up closing it, it doesn't always close the ASCOM driver set. So you got to go into the task manager in Windows and blow it out, basically. Stop the process for the ASCOM drivers. Once I do that, I can connect to the scope. So just highlight what you want in Stellarium, click the current object button, and then click on slew. and that should bring the crosshairs, over the target, and then let's get guiding going. I've had issues in the past trying to use Stellarium. It would get over there and then it would stop tracking. So long and short of it is try to get tracking going as quickly as possible. So now that tracking's going, let's just do a couple test shots and see what type of data we get. Just doing a quick 10-second shot. Alright, there it is up in the middle right. Question is, which way is it moving? Should be moving down and to the left, but we have to figure out what the framing looks like. So this is the hard part as far as, is your camera inverted, meaning what you see in Stellarium, is that upside down as compared to what you're looking at in Stellarium or not? But once we figure that out, then we can go into Stellarium and select a target to salute to so that the comet will move through the frame. I mean, it's not really needed. We know how it's going to move in Stellarium, but it's a good thought exercise. Now, the other reason we do this is I know at 300 millimeters on the T7i, I've got it in frame. Now, the axes aren't exactly lined up between the Edge HD and the Sigma lens. So now it's a matter of trying to get that longer focal length of 2800 millimeters to see the object. So I need to look at where the scope is pointed and try to figure that out. So I'll be back once I do and we have it in the frame. Okay, so it's been about 40 minutes. I had to flew over to Capella, a relatively bright star, and use that instead of the comet. There's a lot more stars around it, so I was able to see a pattern. And luckily, I got it in the frame, so now I know what my offset is. It needs to be a little bit low and to the left. So let me select a star over here, slew to it, and let's see if we can get the comet into the frame. Test image is almost done. Let's see what we got. And with some luck, we got it. I'm not seeing any other stars that I could move it just a hair to get it a little bit more in the upper right so I can get a good transition. So let's get guiding going back on, and then I'll set up my target set as far as how many frames I want to capture, and I'll be back once that completes. Okay, I did some test frames. As you saw me setting them up there to find out what exposure I liked. And now it's capturing, in this particular setup, it's 120 exposures. So let's see what we end up getting. I'll be back once everything's completed, and I'm not sure if I'm going to walk through the post-processing, but it looks like we're going to have some decent data. Should be able to get some time-lapse going. Okay, while this is still running, I wanted to explain why I needed to do the offset. In the configuration, I'm not showing it here on the screen. I'm just looking at a couple other things. Trying to set up Sequence Generator Pro for the night for when this completes. I haven't set up Stellarium with my exact Latin long from where the telescope is positioned. So it thinks I think about 10 miles away, straight line distance. So when it's trying to calculate the coordinates for where the object is and where it needs to slew to as far as RA and deck, it's going to be off a little bit since my coordinates are not set correctly. It's close, and thus far it's been good enough. I will be going in and adjusting that. I'll probably be doing a video on using and configuring Stellarium, but for now it's been working, so I haven't focused too much on updating that. But now that I have things working and might want to do objects like this in the future, I probably should lock that down to a better Latin long for my location. So with that, I'll be back. Alright, here we are, an hour or so later, and capturing the last frame on the T7i. After this, I would get Sequence Generator Pro up and working to do some imaging throughout the night while I get some sleep. And then tomorrow I will go in. Basically all I'm going to do is go into Lightroom for the T7i images. I'll do a camera and lens correction to flatten the field, and then I'll create a slideshow from that. Might adjust the exposure, contrast, things of that nature, but usually I don't like playing with those too much. And then I will go in and adjust the exposure and contrast, etc. on the T6i with the Edge HD. There's no lens and camera correction on that because it's not a combination that Lightroom has, and the Edge HD already has a flat field, so it's not really needed. Probably won't record the Lightroom session, but if all goes well, I'll have the slideshows here at the end of the video. I shall return. Welcome back, and here are the slideshows. I did have my camera mounted on a tripod with a 50mm lens as well the night before, so that I've included that at the tail end. Hope you enjoyed this video. Wish you a good rest of your day, clear skies, and thank you very much. Appreciate you.